Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, my name is Siti Haryati. My study program is Education of Officer Administration Class B 2018 at State University of Jakarta. In this video, I'm going to presentation about my internship program report at Kelompok Substansi Pertimbangan Hukum and Advokasi Hukum, Biro Hukum, Kementerian Desa, Pembangunan Daerah Tertinggal, and Transmigrasi. In this chapter 1, I will discuss about the background, objectives of fieldwork practices, where fieldwork practices are implemented, and the time schedule I prepare to implement field practices. Nowadays, the development of science and technology is increasing rapidly. The need for human resource is growing and the competition is getting thicker. One of them is in the work that demands the existence of quality human resource. The work of education is very important to support everything needed in the face of competition in the world of work, where students are one of the assets of human resource in the world of work that can adjust and expand itself to the environment that will face. By holding fieldwork practices activities, students can improve the skills in doing work and as an opportunity for students to show or know the ability to become qualified human resource. The objectives of the implementation of fieldwork practices are implemented as follows. 1. Implementing science in accordance with the study program during the lecture period to the real world of work. 2. Adding experience to practicant to face the work of work later. 3. Practicing discipline and practical responsibility in carrying out the tasks given. And 4. Fulfills on of the requirements for graduation from the Office Administration Education Study Program. The place of implementation of fieldwork practices by practicant is in Kementerian Desa, Pembangunan Daerah Tertinggal, and Transmigrasi that are in the street TMP Kalibata number 17 South Jakarta, DKI Jakarta with PAR number 021 7994 372. Practical fieldwork practices on substance group Pertimbangan Hukum and Advokasi Hukum. Furthermore, the fieldwork practice time is held for 1 month or 23 working days from January 18 to February 18, 2021. In the framework of implementing fieldwork practice, there are some stages that must be passed by practicant, that is, first, observation stage. At this stage, the practice of making observation to the village ministry to ask about fieldwork practice and ask for the recruitment to carry out fieldwork practice in the ministry. 2. Stage of preparation. At this stage, the practice of preparing the condition request by the Kementerian Desa, Pembangunan Daerah Tertinggal, and Transmigrasi as a condition of acceptation to carry out fieldwork practice activities. In the current pandemic situation, the creation of letters is done online by contacting Bakum parties via WhatsApp. After revising a letter for Bakum, through email practice, submit a cover letter of application by coming back to Biro Sumber Daya Manusia, Kementerian Desa to process the fieldwork practice permit application letter. For 3 weeks waiting for confirmation of the reply to the letter, finally, practicant get a reply letter that practicant allowed to carry out fieldwork practices. 3. At the implementation stage, the practice begins to implement fieldwork practices with the provision of working hours, namely 1 Mondays to 2 days, starting at the hour 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. with hours of rest 12 p.m. until 1 p.m. will on Fridays starting at 8 a.m. until 4:30 p.m. with hours of rest 11:30 a.m. until 1 p.m. And in the last stage, namely the stage of writing a report on fieldwork practices, where the practice of writing a report after the completion of the fieldwork practicing during March to April 2021. In the second capture, I will discuss about the company's history, the vision and mission of the company, the organizational structure of the company, and last, the general activities in Biro Hukum. Kementerian Desa Pembangunan Daerah Tertinggal and Transmigrasi Republik Indonesia is a ministry in the government of Indonesia in charge of village and rural development, empowerment of rural communities, acceleration of development of disadvantaged areas, and transmigration, led by a Ministry of Village since October 27, 2014, helped by Mr. Marwan Jafar. In the era of President Joko Widodo's government in the working cabinet, the ministry was renamed Kementerian Desa Pembangunan Daerah Tertinggal and Transmigrasi, where previously named Kementerian Negara Percepatan Pembangunan Daerah Tertinggal. Kementerian Desa Pembangunan Daerah Tertinggal and Transmigrasi have vision and mission. The company's vision is the realization of a sovereign, independent, and personal Indonesia based on gotong royong. While the company's vision is 1. Releasing national security that is able to safeguard territorial sovereignty. 2. Releasing a developed, balanced, and democratic society based on the state of law. 3. Releasing a free, active foreign policy and strengthening identity as a maritime state. 4. Releasing the high quality of life of Indonesia people, advance and prepares. 5. Manifesting a competitive nation. 6. Releasing Indonesia as an independent, advanced, strong, and national interest-based maritime country. 7. Releasing a society that has personality and culture. Organizational structure on Biro Hukum led by a office head named Mr. Teguh, where his subordinate was a section head led by Mr. Farid Abdurrahman, who was in charge of the subdivision head by administration led by Mr. Guntur Aditama. Furthermore, law firms have 4 substance groups. First, there is a substance group for inspection the needs and evaluation of statutory regulation. The second group of the substance for the preparation of laws and regulation. Third, namely the substance group for legal consideration and legal advocacy. The fourth is the substance group for counseling and legal information. Each substance group is led by a coordinator. General activities in the ministry have the name of organizing government affairs in the field of village and rural development, empowerment of village communities, acceleration of development of different areas, and transmigration to help the president in organizing state government. As for general activities, Biro Hukum Kementerian Desa has the task of implement on coordination, coaching, and providing support for the study of the needs and evaluation of legislation, the preparation of legislation and legal instruments, legal service and advocacy, as well as counseling and legal information of the ministry. In this third capture, I will discuss about field of work, work implementation, obstacle faced, and how to overcome obstacles. The types of work carried out by practicant include the field of secretarial field, archival management field, computer and administrative field, and the legal consideration and legal advocacy field. The implementation of work in the secretarial field is, first, the practice of making a mutation letter. In the making of the outgoing letter, the practice is given an example of the format of writing the letter, and the practice of working out it follow the direction given by the leader. Second, is to make a report of the result of the meeting of the head of subsection, where practicant is encouraged to develop the result of his notes at the time of attending the meeting by writing a report that will be given by the head of subsection, using the format of the report in the Biro Hukum. Third, namely making a memorandum of introduction. In doing this task, practicant is given a format of service notes by the leader, and then practices retype the format of the leader that has been given. By composing several sections introduced on the field work practices leader, after completion of practice given it to the leader. The last is folding the leader of the text of folding the leader practicant. Apply a lesson that teaches how to fold letters in the form of accordion in the empty course by folding into 3 parts equally large. And for the implementation of work in the archival management field is, first, the practice of laying out documents or letters. In this implementation, the practice of sorting the text document and then coupling them based on the letter number by storing them to ordner. Next is to record to incoming letter in the agenda books, where the practice of recording incoming letters in the agenda books that has been provided by writing the date of receipt, letter number, origin of the letter, date of letter, attachment, purpose, and subjects. And the last is disposing the letter. In this activity, practicant disposing the letter into the disposition card that has been provided by noting the origin of the letter number, the date of the letter, the receipt of the letter, the nature of the letter, and the subject of the letter. After it finishes, a letter is given to the leader 1 and to the leader to be forwarded 1. And for the field of computer and practical administration, carry out work such as 1. Doubling documents. Using a photocopy is to put the documents you want to copy on the copy machine by adjusting the size of the paper to be used and the number of copies, and then pressing the button to starting doubling. 2. Then do scanning to scan the documents. That is by using a flash drive to save the documents file. And 3. The practice also uploads the regulatory form of the legal information documentation network Kementerian Desa, where is the practice of opening a website GDAD Kementerian Desa, then the practice of filling in the date document title, subject, name of the uploader, brief contents of the document, and document's number. Once it's all filled out, practice upload the documents immediately so it's visible to everyone. Well, in the field of pertimbangan hukum and advokasi hukum, in this activity the practices is asked to accompany his head of subsection to attend a meeting on the discussion of the draft work agreement of the village escort. In attending the meeting, the practice is to record the discussion of the meeting. At the time of implementation of practical fieldwork practices, experience some obstacle in completing the work. The obstacles experienced by practicants during the implementation of fieldwork practices are the lack of printer facilities, where the practice must alternate with employees to use the printer machine. This is due to the limitation of the tool. Furthermore, in the stores of irregular archive, where practicants get the task to find a document needed, but by looking at the situation of archive that do not regularly make practicants have difficulty in the representation of archive because many documents are mixed and not arranged in accordance with the archiving system. So it takes a lot of time practice because it has to search one by one and the work becomes ineffective. To overcome the obstacle faced by practice, the practice seeks solutions so that practicants can solve this obstacle by gaining new experience. As for the solution that practicants do to overcome the obstacle faced, to overcome the constraints of the lack of printer facility, namely practicant purpose and it fits the leader field work practices to make a request for printer by the Secretarial General, and to overcome the constraints of the stores of archive that are less organized is by practicing recording archive in accordance with the letter number, with the intention that in the reinventation of the required archive can be searched quickly and does not take long, and make the work more effective and efficient. As for the conclusion on the percentage this time that the fieldwork practices activity, this is a very worthwhile activity where practicants gain experience and add new insight. Not only that, practicants also get new friends. Fieldwork practice is a forum for all students to apply and implement the knowledge that has been learned before. In addition, internship activities are carried out to meet one of the graduation requirements of the Office Administration Education Study Program, Faculty of Economics, State University of Jakarta. In the implementation of fieldwork practices, the practice of carrying out work activity in the field of secretarial, archival management, computer and administrative field, and the field of legal consideration and advocacy. And there are also suggestions that can be given on the implementation of fieldwork practices is for students. 1. Start looking for agencies that accept fieldwork practices several months before fieldwork practices activities are carried out. 2. Preparing mentally from yourself before carrying out fieldwork practices activities and knowledge in the field of office administration. 3. Show a sense of discipline in work, time discipline, maintain appearance, and maintain good attitude. And last, keeping the good name of Jakarta State University and alma mater. For the Faculty of Economics, 1. Foster cooperation relationships with various companies to make it easier for practical candidates to obtain a place of fieldwork practices. 2. Improving the overall quality of academic service, especially in the preparatory state of fieldwork practices. And last, provide direction and training for students to have proficient both in knowledge and skills before carrying out fieldwork practices activities. For cooperation, 1. Provide detailed guidance when students first do activities. 2. Prepare appropriate facilities, such as the procurement of printers to support the work of employees faster and effectively. And last, pay attention to archive by checking periodically because archives are very important documents for agencies. And that's all for presentation about in my internship program reports. Thank you for your attention and sorry if there any mistake in my presentation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.